Hello there, and thank you for tuning in to see what the world looks like through atheist eyes. I'm Frank Zindler from American Atheist Press, and once again today I will be your host for another program dedicated to showing the world what it looks like to atheists and other skeptics and free thinkers. Today's program, entitled Lions and Tigers and Lawson, oh my, will be the first in a series of 5 interviews I've had the pleasure of conducting with Dustin Lawson, an amazing man whose career has shifted from being a professional trainer of lions and tigers, no joke, this is true, to being a preacher and understudy to the famous evangelical apologist Josh McDowell, and then to being a God-free author of novels and nonfiction works. He now joins us in our effort to bring reason to the world and to bring the world to reason. Let's listen now to the story of his early career. Those of you who have been regular viewers of my programs, I think will agree that every one of my guests has been very special, very amazing in one way or another. My guest today, however, perhaps takes the cake in all of this. He has an amazing background. He is a former tiger trainer, would you believe? A former apologist, an evangelist, a military man, a novelist, and I'm forgetting several other things. Dustin Lawson, welcome to American Atheist.
Thanks for having me, Frank.
Program. What are we called? We're called Through Atheist Eyes with Frank Zindler. Dustin, I alluded, of course, already to the amazing things that you've done. Mm-hmm. I would like in this first program, it's going to take more than one program to cover your whole subject area, and even that'll be skimpy. But in this first program, I would like to start out with your early days. How were you reared? What happened? How in the world did you become a tiger trainer? And bring us up in this first program to the time when you became sort of the assistant and backup person to Josh McDowell, the very famous apologist.
Well, I grew up in rural central Ohio, and my parents divorced when I was 1. I lived with my mom Monday through Friday and my dad on the weekends, and grew up in the church. And
what kind of church was this?
The first church I would say was a Church of Christ, and then a couple of different churches, and then mainly a Baptist church from from 5th grade to all through college, pretty much. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's actually how I became a lion and tiger trainer, is because when I was 15 years old, between my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I helped teach Vacation Bible School at the Baptist church, and
shame on you.
No.
All right.
And it was a safari theme.
Oh.
And on the very last day, they invited the local lion and tiger reserve to bring a lion and tiger cub to show the kids.
Oh my!
And that's where I met the owners. And as soon as I saw the animals, is there any way I could work with them? And they said I could pay to go through the training program. And so after a couple months of eventually convincing my parents to let me do it, I became a lion and tiger trainer, and I did it all throughout high school and college. So I like to joke that most people's first job is serving food, but my first job, I could have been the food.
Could have been the food.
And there was a lot of close calls. Twice I had a tiger named
I think
Simba.
we'll be able to get a little footage of you with a tiger.
Yeah, you could go on YouTube and type in lions and tigers and Lawson, oh my.
That's Lawson, Lawson.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you'll see me get attacked by a tiger. One of my favorite tigers named Ekaterina.
Oh my gosh.
And lots of other footage with the animals over the 8 years.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of close calls. Once or twice had a tiger named Simba's mouth around my neck. And wow. I have a shoe that sits on my shelf that has 5 teeth holes in it from the day when a tiger named Umara, a tiger I raised from a little cub,
wow,
bit my left foot and took off running, dragging me with her. And
my.
it's the only time as an adult that I can recall ever peeing my pants.
Oh,
And
my.
so that shoe sits there as a
Yeah.
reminder of how powerful, how
Yeah,
weak I really
yeah.
am compared to
She
Mother
dragged you
Nature.
off like you were just a play
Yes.
toy. Yeah.
And fortunately, there was another trainer, about 250-pound guy, who's also a black belt, who gave her a roundhouse to the face to get her to let
Oh
go
my
with her.
gosh! Wow.
And so I was then going to go to Ohio State, major in zoology and broadcasting, be the next Jack Hanna. It seemed to
Mhm.
make sense after
Mhm.
3
A
years
good
of working Lions and
combination, yeah.
Tigers. I was just from Central Ohio, so in Ohio State's only like 10 minutes from the Columbus Zoo, which Jack
Yeah.
Hanna runs, so made sense. But then my pastor preached a sermon my senior year of high school I think it was about February or March, and it was about not wasting your life, and it was specifically, you could tell, geared towards the seniors who were getting ready to graduate.
Mhm.
And it got me convicted a little bit, and after a couple of weeks I talked to him, and he convinced me that if I devoted my life to animals and not souls, I'd be wasting my life. And so I changed course and went to college to become a preacher.
Oh my goodness! Now, where did you study?
I went to a local Christian college named Mount Vernon Nazarene University,
Mhm.
so that I could still work with the Lions and Tigers, because
Oh.
I still kind of
Yeah.
kept it on the back burner.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't want to leave my second family. I wanted to
Yeah,
still work with them.
yeah, yeah. And so then you became a licensed minister?
No, I didn't really. I didn't become licensed in the Baptist church or anything, but I became a very fervent evangelist.
Mhm.
I very
Mhm.
much embraced the call in college,
Mhm.
and on Friday nights and Saturday nights, instead of going on dates, I would go to local secular colleges, and I would go right to their parties, not to drink, not to fornicate, but to evangelize.
Uh-huh.
And after a few times, I began bringing someone with a video camera, because I realized it drew a crowd, so I could talk to 15 or 20 people at once.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you were giving the Jehovah's Witnesses a run for their money.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. When Jehovah's Witnesses come to my door now, I've done this once, and if they ever come again, I'll do it again. I strip down to my underwear and see how long they'll talk to me with me standing in the doorway, only in my underwear. They talked to me for 40 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, appearing like that, you're a much bigger target to save.
Right.
I mean,
No,
you
right.
know, you could be one of the 144,000. I mean,
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, anyway, so now, how long were you studying at Nazarene?
4 years,
4 years,
standard
the whole
years,
thing.
and in addition to my studies, I also, because I wanted to be an Apostle Paul, a second miler, I memorized about 90% of the New Testament.
I can vouch for his knowledge of the Holy Scriptures.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I still a lot of it's there.
Yeah.
And the book of I'm very glad I memorized the book of Ecclesiastes.
Yeah.
It's my favorite book of the Bible, and I think it is the greatest treatise on free thinking ever written. Even
Yeah, how that ever ended up being approved, you know,
Right.
it almost didn't.
Right,
I
right,
mean,
right.
The rabbis and so on.
Well, I
almost
think the
didn't.
last 6 verses in chapter 12 were added to soften it.
Could have been, yeah, that might have been an
Because
interpolation.
Because the first 12 and a half chapters are written in the first person, and
Yeah.
then for some reason these
Yeah.
last 6 verses are written in the third person.
Yeah.
So.
Vanity
But,
of vanities, all is
yes,
vanity,
right.
thus saith the preacher.
And not side note, but very important part of my story. My junior year of college, I had a small battle with cancer, testicular cancer, and that actually I thought was a way of knocking off one of my dreams, which was to be a soldier. It's like, oh, okay, God is helping clear the path, and I became allergic to lions and tigers.
Oh my.
Earlier than that, so I thought, okay,
Oh.
God is just clearing the path to make it very clear you are to be a minister of the gospel, not
Yeah,
lions and tigers,
yeah.
not in the soldier, just a preacher to bring in people.
Give me a sign, O Lord, but not quite like that.
Right, yeah, just write it on the wall. I would.
Yeah, that would.
I would have. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Invisible handwriting on. Okay, I got it.
Well, that cancer was certainly a very serious and threatening thing in your life. I mean, how long did it take before you were saved?
I was actually cured of cancer before I even knew I had cancer, because I went into the surgery knowing there was a problem,
Oh.
but not being for sure if it was cancer. The doctor said he had to go in to be able to tell.
Yeah, yeah.
And once he went in there, he realized it was cancer, took it out, and a week later I got tested again, and it showed that
was
had
it.
taken
that
all
was
of it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
cured before
That
I knew
was
I had
great.
it.
I'm glad.
And I'm pretty sure the month after the surgery was scarier than the month before the surgery, because for about 6 weeks I could not feel anything.
Yeah.
So fortunately the feeling came back.
Yeah, okay. Alles in Ordnung.
Yeah.
So, anyway, okay, so you had cancer and you have your ministerial degree, or is this while you're getting your ministerial degree?
This is why I'm getting a degree.
While you're getting the degree,
And in high school I was always kind of afraid of public speaking. And so the call to become a preacher was kind of created a dichotomy in my head. I was like, I really don't know that I want to get up in front of big crowds.
But then you realized you were a second Apostle Paul.
Yeah. Well, or Billy Graham, or Josh McDowell, as we'll talk later. But my sophomore year of college, I preached my first sermon in front of a big crowd. And people started saying how well I thought I did.
Yeah.
And then my junior year, I preached my first sermon in front of the whole campus. And that's when, someone came up to me afterwards and said, that was the greatest sermon I've ever heard. I think you're going to be the next Billy Graham. And that kind of,
that
I'm
clinched
good.
it.
I'm confident. I'm confident. I got this. This is my unique gift.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I was a mediocre athlete, mediocre artist. I was good with animals, but the ministry kind of took that away. But then I found that unique gift, which was public speaking. And so to eventually walk away from it definitely hurt. But so finished college, and I got my dream job, which was to become the personal assistant to Josh McDowell, because I didn't want to I wanted to be the next Billy Graham, but I eventually realized I don't want to bring people to Jesus through their heart, through fear, like he often does. I wanted to bring them to Jesus through their mind, like Josh McDowell does.
Through reason, yes.
Through reason.
Because most of our audience is a bunch of heathens, sorry out there, it might be a good idea for you to give them just a snapshot of who and what Josh McDowell is. We'll devote a whole program to that, but right now I think it's important that they have some better sense of who and what he is, what he does.
Next to C.S. Lewis, Josh McDowell is probably the most famous Christian apologist of at least the second half of the 20th century.
Yeah.
And he claims that he was an atheist in his teenage and beginning of his college years, and then someone challenged him to try and disprove Christianity, and so he tried to do that and ended up writing a book to support it, Evidence Demands a Verdict. So from 1965, that's when he began traveling and speaking on college campuses for Campus Crusade for Christ, and he's been doing it ever since, over 50 years. Got 100 some books to his credit. He's spoken probably 26,000 times in front of crowds. He's a workhorse for his cause. And
he's almost my age.
He is, yeah. You guys came to this earth about the same time.
I think he's just about a year younger than I am. Yeah. But anyway, so he's been at it for a long time.
But once I realized that's the job I wanted, I began annoying his staff about 8 months before I graduated college, and just calling them every week, after the application was in, until eventually, about 3-4 weeks before I graduated college, I got the call that said the job is yours. So that was that. But it didn't start until the end of the summer. And one of the biggest regrets in my life is an opportunity that I turned down because of that job, which was I won a cancer survivor contest my senior year of college, and they paid for me to go to do something crazy, chase some crazy dream that you wouldn't normally go after. And so I had them pay for me to go to an acting and modeling contest in Orlando, Florida, 2 weeks after graduating college.
Oh my gosh.
And at that contest, a very established, renowned acting and modeling agent liked my hair. I had this long curly blonde hair, and offered me a contract, asked me if I wanted to move to LA and be one of his clients, and I turned him down for Josh. I thought this is a temptation trying to pull me away. I thought that it was the devil specifically came there to try and tempt me.
Right.
Because this was his last ditch effort to keep me away from McDowell.
Yeah.
And so I easily walked away from it then. But,
My gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have been a very famous model at this point.
Or it could have gone out to L.A. and failed like so many, or it could have, but who knows?
Yeah.
Life.
Okay, so you turned down the modeling, and then Josh says he gave in, and you had the job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think we're going to save the discussion of what you did on the job and your experiences on the job for another program. And we'll end this particular installment now. And I would say please tune in next time, and we will find out what Dustin Lawson did with Josh McDowell, and leading up to his, decision to end up here. All right, tune in next time. I'm Frank Zindler for American Atheists.